right. Good day, everyone. Welcome to the D-Line, soon to everyone's favorite football podcast. With me to speak football today, we've got Herman Gibbs, the general himself, and then we've got Mihlali Baleka, senior football writer at Independent Media. Without taking you too far in independent news, the elephant in the room is Jose Riveiro leaving the Buccaneers. There's a lot of things that we individually are saying about that, but maybe our big football scribes can give us some insight info that. Mihlali wrote in his column The Final Whistle, which comes out every Saturday on the IWL website and the Saturday papers. He did speak about Pirates having a history of releasing these coaches like they did with Kroll after he won the league. But maybe, Mihlali, to get us going there, have you any insights there? What happened with Riveiro?
I think all we know, it was that the coach resigned, and he didn't necessarily resign. His contract is coming to an end, rather, and then he decided not to renew it for an extended period. Remember, he had an optional to extend, I think, for 1 year after the 3-year deal. So he opted against doing that. And if you look back into his history and also what he had said before was the fact that he doesn't normally stay over 3 years at the club. But with the way things that have been going at Pirates, I mean, having won 3 MTN8 rounds in 3 successive seasons, back-to-back Nedbank Cups, and still in the running now to win another one, and also still maybe you could say mathematically still in the running for the league. We expected him maybe to extend, his stint at the club. But he decided against doing that, according to the club. So does it come as a surprise to many of us, as journalists as well? I think so, One would have expected him to actually be given another tenner, because Paris now have to go back and rebuild. They have started fresh with a new coach, probably with new players as well. And we've seen what Riveiro has done, not only for Orlando Paris, but also different football. Look at the number of young stars that have come under his guidance at the club. So with him having to announce that he won't be extending his stay beyond this, it's a bit of a shock to the system, but at the same time, one would expect it, like I've already mentioned, that he doesn't stay at the club for longer than 3 years. But with the way that things have been going, this was a guy who was ridiculed into a plumber when he arrived. But fast forward to what he's done in the 2.5 seasons that he's been at Paris, everyone is raving about, the growth of the players, the growth of the team, and all that. So, yeah, man, I won't lie. I spoke to a couple of guys, our media colleagues yesterday, just to maybe to check on their stance on the matter. Some say that the club was good to announce it earlier rather than waiting for the last minute. Some, it's to me it was a bit of a shock up given to what Paris now, the phase that the club is in now. I mean, they are doing well in the Champions League as well. They'll play the quarterfinals against MC Alger next week, having won the first leg. So yeah, man, I hope, I've seen some couple of Paris fans, they're taking this in good faith, they're wishing the coach well, they want to give him his last dance. So that's promising, and that's a good sign that, we leave the chase better than we found it.
Yeah. Maybe on that one, as you are saying, that there are different opinions as to, announcing it now or, letting the season pan out. Maybe on that one, Mr. Gibbs, it can go either way, maybe, because people are already saying maybe it can spur them on. Players trying to play to keep the coach, to convince management to keep the coach, or to give him a nice last dance, as Mihlali say, or otherwise it can actually just deflate their spirits. Maybe on that cue, what is your take?
Yeah, no, look, Mihlali is spot on there. It's Riveiro has said, he thinks 3 years with the club is a good time. He thinks it's time for the club to reinvent itself, and he doesn't think that he should carry on. He's quite happy with what he has achieved, and it's true that when he arrived, people labelled him a plumber, but he now leads as one of the best coaches at Orlando in the history of Orlando Pirates. And given his success in the cup competitions, and the players were quite disturbed by the fact that by the announcement yesterday. I don't know if it's because of the timing or or the fact that he's leaving. But some of the players have said they are a powerhouse, and they should carry on and produce their best form against Polokwane tomorrow afternoon. So there's lots of positive feelings, and two players in fact said, let's play so well that we can drum up support to get the coach to change his mind about leaving the club.
Yeah. And talking about changing his mind, I'll just go deeper a bit there. Look, you are saying like he doesn't stay longer than 3 seasons at the club, but then maybe the biggest prize in any domestic league is to win the league. To win the league. So maybe you haven't done that. You haven't done enough to leave the club. Can we at least say that, or should we just let it be?
I think he's fairly stuck on his ideas about the 3-year spell, regardless of whether he won the league or not. Yeah. And I think we've got to admire him for sticking to his philosophy, to his way of thinking. And the club has done well. He's not now going to be greedy and change his philosophy and thought processes. So he's quite happy that he's done his best, and he's going to stick with his decision to leave after 3 years.
And then he leaves, Mr. Lee. So let's say he ends up leaving. Obviously, the future cannot be foretold, but we've seen coaches who come once, especially introduced by Chiefs or Pirates, and they do well, and they actually never leave. They go and come back to
another team.
Yeah,
and it's going to be quite interesting, really, because you're spot on. We've seen a couple of them. Remember, even others have swapped Chiefs for Pirates. Remember Vladimir Vemezovic, he did well at Chiefs, ended up at Pirates at some point. You remember Mushin Ertugal as well. He's now started at Chiefs, went to a number of clubs, and then he went to Pirates at some point. I think even this guy, Costa Papish, remember the time they went to Chiefs at some point. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting, but I don't know, man. I think Jose Riveiro has built quite a strong bond with Orlando Pirates and the fans. And it might be a sort of a challenge for him to go back to South African football and then coach another club. With Jurgen Klopp had said that when he left Liverpool that, he probably would never coach in the PL another club besides Liverpool, having created that strong bond. And also, I think the same could be said for Jose now, because he has changed a lot of things, a lot of mentality, a lot of perceptions, a lot of careers, I think at some point, there was one incident, at a press conference when players, I think just after they won the MTN8, I think that was Moses Mabhida, when, one of our colleagues had asked what is the player's perception on the fact that the coach hasn't renewed his contract and then he might leave at the end of the season. And then you could feel like that, it's one of those things that you don't want to know. I think it was just like you don't want to put it there in the spotlight. One person, said yesterday to me that, with the documentary that the club had just done, the focus on the coach and all that. I think he said that if you had watched that thoroughly, there were already hints there saying that, the coach is probably leaving, and everyone at the club probably knows that. It's a matter of just making the decision. So, yeah, man, it's going to be quite interesting. I've followed Pirates for quite some time, and obviously since Jose arrived, and a lot. I'm just saying. I'm just.
No,
and a lot has changed, the dynamics and all that. So let's see what happens.
No, it's fine. Well, I hear that. Maybe sticking with Cape exploits as Pirates, we saw what they did during the week, and Southampton as well. Just looking at those second legs coming, and then there were ugly scenes in the game of Esperance and Sundowns. And we are going to the second legs. Maybe Mr. Gibbs will take us there. Are we expecting Kev to make any statements, prior to that?
Before we go on to that, I saw this morning a very interesting piece on one of the North African websites saying that MC Alger are lodging a complaint with CAF because they feel that the Pirates players dropped some mootie in the goal mouth. And they've got a picture. They got the picture of the players before the match dropping some stuff in the goal mouth there. And they say that one of the technical staff of the Pirates was sprinkling water in the same area. So they're supporting this with pictures. So that could be another story developing, a developing story. Coming back to CAF, the second leg will be played on Tuesday, and CAF hasn't said a word. Although I have it on authority that CAF met last night to discuss the Sundowns thing, and at this stage we can only speculate what's going to be the outcome, because I can't believe that CAF won't act, knowing what they know about this club and the history of bad behavior. I mean, I was appalled to see a few years ago the supporters at their home club even took on the riot police. They didn't stand back for the riot police. And the riot police ended up running for their lives. So I think CAF has got to consider its options. I think the number one option is play the match behind closed doors. Number two, move the venue, maybe to another North African country, or suspend this team. They've done enough now to warrant suspension, kick them out. It won't be the first time that CAF has kicked the team out of Champions League because of bad behavior. So I think those are the options.
Hey, kicking them out, that's a big call.
Yeah, that's the harsh one, I think.
Almost the honest. But on that cue, what are our chances leaving out violence and all the shenanigans?
No, our chances are very good, to be quite honest, because Esperance didn't score away, so we've got that advantage. So if you score away, in Egypt, in Tunisia, that would be quite a bonus for us as Mamelodi Sundowns and South Africans. And also looking at the fact that we've got also an away goal in Algeria, having beaten MC Alger 1-0, courtesy of a goal from Mwangota. So coming back, our chances are very, very good. And yeah, I mean, it would make for a good, I don't want to say a good semi-final, I think it would make for a good final if Pirates and Sundowns were to play, because you can imagine, we know that it's going to stay here. I mean, regardless of the outcomes. And yeah, if maybe Jose Riveiro, maybe just touching on that, is to go all the way to the semi-final even. I mean, that could be, an outstanding, 3-year spell that is had with Sundowns. Of course, like you've said, the biggest honor any man can get is to be crowned the champions of their land. But the Champions League as well is the biggest prize in Africa. So either look at however you want to look at it. Sundowns are craving for, I'm sure they would trade a couple of league titles for this Champions League this season. But if Paris were to do the unthinkable, I mean, that would be huge success.
First things happen in football. We've got Rolando who was released a Super League and the league as well. And then was released after the Champions League. So, all is forgiven. Football changes itself from time to time. And maybe when coming back home, we've got some serious issues. All the Pirates are going to Polokwane. I checked the weather there. It seems it will be cloudy. Maybe having not much heat will help the Buccaneers as they need to manage the players, before the game. Because Kaizer Chiefs are also going to Polokwane to host TS Galaxy. Maybe Mr. Kev to look at the Nova, especially with Kaizer Chiefs. They are coming from back-to-back defeats, and Dobe was speaking about their defense being weak. They're letting 4 goals in the past games. Can they, have the Rockets in Polokwane?
Yeah, look, the main reason why these clubs play away from their home venues is financial. It's usually the municipalities in those areas offer them a good deal at their stadiums, so they go there. But the other reason why clubs are playing in Polokwane these days is because of the brilliant surface. It's excellent there. But as far as Kaizer Chiefs is concerned, you won't think any venue is good for them. Their
And we changed
performance
the
is
tone
such that wherever they go, whether they play Richards Bay or they can play the lowest teams in the league, it seems that nothing is going right for them. So it'll be quite interesting. Galaxy have been one of the teams that have shown great improvement this year, and I should imagine that nothing will please Gallants more than to put another one over Kaizer Chiefs this weekend.
Yeah, just they've got a hashtag that says that home but away from home or something like that.
They've had so many hashtags in the past 10 years. One is return to glory, Ryan's Cozy Ryan.
Home away from home or something.
No, not making fun of the bigger situation, but it is a question to ask. And then Pirates going to Polokwane as well, who against the party in Polokwane this weekend. And also, we're going to be looking at just all the other pictures as far as going to Cape Town City and Spokane. Just give us your 1-1.
Yeah, I think Pirates have to win, against Polokwane City in order to keep the pressure like on Sundowns, because also there's still a lot of speculation now that the PSL is imminent into kicking Royal AM out of the league. So what is going to happen to the games that they've played against Royal AM, and then what is going to happen to other teams? So there's a lot. So they need to keep the momentum going. Obviously, we still know that they've got that game against Arrows, which they didn't play due to the flooding of the pitch, in Hammersdale. And yeah, Golden Arrows are at home to Chippa United. Should be quite interesting, game, because I think the two teams won over the weekend, last weekend rather. Sorry, Golden Arrows, they beat Chiefs. Remember when Chiefs, were in town. And yeah, another interesting one should be Gallants. I think they're on a high against SuperSport. I mean, they went did they go to TS Galaxy, if I'm not mistaken, and actually came away with the results. So the host SuperSport was struggling and they have to get out of the relegation zone. So yeah, that's one of the games that I think should quite have a significant, sort of detail into what is going to happen to the other teams. And yeah, we close it off with Cape Town City and Sekhukhune. I think Eric Tinkler playing against his former club, and yeah, like Cape Town City are still also they're down there, with the flirting with relegation. So they have to win this game in order to make it a point that they try to get out of that and maybe give a final and a final push for the top 8. So it's games that have got a lot to define, and especially now that we're heading to the final stretch of the season. So yeah, let's see what happens during this weekend in the top 5 football.
We spoke of football, and then we might not leave out Stellenbosch. I mean, they pulled another one against Zamalek in the champion of the Cape contract. I mean, we cannot kill this one without mentioning Steve Barker and Boy who are continuing their good run. But the games maybe on that one, if you observe anything over from that game before they go to Egypt.
Which game is that?
Stellenbosch and Zamalek, the Cape contract.
Oh yes. Look, I think Stellenbosch did well to hold this team here in Cape Town, but I must say I was also surprised there wasn't much fight in that Zamalek team. I was surprised that they gave Stellenbosch so much time on the ball. But I think it will be a different story in a way. I think when Zamalek are home, I think they'll prove a bit too strong for Stellenbosch. So Stellenbosch has done well to reach the quarters in their debut season, and I think that's as far as they're going.
Not very optimistic, but it's fine. Maybe let's close it the way we opened it with Pirates and Riveiro. Polokwane are quite an unpredictable side, even though they don't score many goals. But you cannot really, see Polokwane will be down or in ground. Because we are talking about Pirate players, everyone will be watching, maybe even the body language.
No, you're right.
If they win see what one something else, if they lose, obviously headlines will be like they are affected by Riveiro's announcement.
Yeah, we've seen in this past season when Pirates has got a CAF match after the league match. you can see they're very tentative. They're holding back, and they rest certain key players for the CAF match, and that makes them very vulnerable. The same as same with Sundowns. They've also been vulnerable when they are facing CAF matches and have to play locally. When they even lose to Galaxy, they lose to Polokwane. So I think Pirates will be vulnerable tomorrow because they will be thinking about this CAF match on Tuesday, and I think they'll be very tentative.
Thank you very much for that, gentlemen. Another situation for us to watch locally. Banyana will be playing Malawi. They will play Malawi two players in their preparation of the WAFCON. Because that will be in the UJ Soweto campus. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Before we go, Malibongwe, remember we carried the story this morning to say that the owner of Royal Mkizi is not going to take this lying down.
Yes.
Believe it or not, the story has emerged from KZN, the hometown of our colleague Samiso.
Yes.
And it says that yesterday she addressed the players to say she is going to fight the decision to cancel the membership of a club. So that is a developing story.
But if he's going to do that, maybe just to chip in, then it's not a club anymore now, is it?
Well, you're right. You're technically correct because the club presently belongs to the SARS. So, but in life, anything is possible. In business, I sometimes ask lawyers about these things, and I say to them, "Well, that's true. That's the law." But anything is possible. I used to be friendly with a guy who was a great friend of Mark McCormack, the world's greatest sports promoter, and he always had ways and means of getting out of contract, getting around contracts. So I think maybe this woman is of the same mind. She's not going to accept any decision.
Look, thank you for that part, Mr. Gibbs. That part is been a developing story and will continue to be. But as you mentioned it, for our followers, do catch up all the updates on the IOL Sport website. Mr. Gibbs, as mentioned, we've also got colleagues, Mr. was one of our football scribes. They will be taking you through the escapades of really all the way up to the finish, as predictable as they are. May your predictions, as you have them in mind, come through this weekend. Thank you very much for your time.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay. Yes. Bye.